All right, boys and girls, you know what time it is. Yeah, I get to show you my toys. Hey, I might help you, might teach you something. Let's see what we can do. Use Motorized presents cool motorized toy. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, let's go. Okay, welcome everybody. Hey, got a bike in for repair here. They said that the bike had been sitting for a while. It won't start. So let's go over it. Let's get this bike going, okay? Number one on the list here, it had been sitting for a while. I asked him that. So we're going to go ahead and replace the carburetor. I can see some gummy stuff here on the outside of the carburetor bowl. And I can see it pretty gummy here where the plunger, the primer plunger is. I see that the fuel line is hard as a rock. So what I did, I went ahead and drained the gas tank. We're going to remove the fuel petcock. There's a little plastic screen on there. You get trash on that. That'll screw things up. And just we're going to remove the fuel filter in the tank. We're going to replace the fuel line. I'm going to go ahead and put a new carburetor on it. Make sure it's in good shape there. I checked the resistance on the magneto here, the magneto coil. There we go. Okay, so we've got I went ahead and disconnected it here. The blue and the black wire. We're supposed to be in like the 350, 380 range. And we're getting about 532 ohms resistance, which is a little bit more resistance than what we want. Let's see here. Come on. 532 ohms. So let's go ahead and pull this cover here and see what we got. I do smell gas. Now that could indicate a leak here in the seal on the crankshaft, but I don't think it's that bad. If it was, it would be loaded up with gas. They were trying to start it before they brought it to me, and as well when they drove up, they took it out. They tried starting it. So I'm going to suspect the magneto being bad here, the coil. Let's go ahead, pull that spark plug, see what we got there. Spark plug is kind of black, indicating that it might have been running it a little bit rich, but it's not in bad shape. The gap is okay. So I don't suspect any problems there. I looked and checked the head gasket. There's no oil on the cylinder head here, indicating that we have a leak on the head gasket, and as well, there's no oil leakage here, in which case really if there was a leak there, it would be sucking air in, so not so much of a sign of problem there. I like to check the spark plug wire just to make sure we're in good shape there. Okay, so let me show you how I test the CDI and the cable and the spark plug. Sorry, I had a bad camera angle earlier, so I figured I'd break it down for you. So what you'll do is you'll disconnect the CDI from your magneto coil, and we've got our ohm meter here, and you're going to set it to the 20,000 range if you've got the setting on it here. And your readings are going to be a little different, but bottom line, you can see we're getting a reading here, meaning electrical current is going from one wire to the next. Now here we're touching it, and that means we've got 0 ohms resistance, meaning there's nothing constricting the flow of electricity here. Now what we're going to do, we're going to reverse, put it back on the CDI and reverse it. And you see we're getting a reading here. And your readings are going to be kind of based on how strong the batteries are in your voltmeter, because it's a capacitor. But we've got a reading there, and this is a brand new one, a good one here. One other thing you want to check, and what I checked on this bike here, was the spark plug wire itself. Now I'm going to remove the boot, the rubber insulator portion off of the spark plug boot here, and we're going to put one of the leads in on the brass part that goes onto the spark plug, and then you look inside the wire and you see the copper wire here, and you can see we have no resistance, meaning there's a good electrical current which is passing through. Now I threw away the spark plug boot. Well, actually I gave it back to the guy who got the bike. But what I did is when I first put the wire here in the spark plug boot and the wire here, I got an open reading. There was no electricity flowing through. So I removed the spark plug wire here. Come on. I checked my cable. And I got 0 ohms resistance. Now one thing as well you might want to do is flex it, because you could have it broken on the inside, and sometimes you get current going through and sometimes it doesn't. Just from vibration and the like, it'll break up and you'll get a weak spark and your bike will run poorly. And then what I did is I put, now this is a good spark plug boot here, but I put the electrode on the little screw here, there, and you can see I have 0 ohms resistance, meaning there's an electrical path, current is flowing through the spark plug boot. On the one on the bike, it was defective, so I was putting it in here, and I wasn't getting any reading whatsoever. No electricity was going through. So, in either case, one thing you always want to check on a bike, even a brand new bike, I recommend is take your CDI and ensure that, well, number one, make sure you can see the copper wire here. I went ahead and trimmed it back a little bit. We can see the copper wire, and you want to make sure it's basically like a wood screw here. I'm not going to, let's see here, where's the, yeah, so we got the boot here. Make sure that there's like a little wood screw inside here, which will go into the wire. And just turn it until it stops. Then we fit the insulator on there. And the other end of your cable, there's the other wood screw here, which is on the CDI. I call it a wood screw. It looks like a wood screw. It's threaded, and just turn this on. Screw it in there till you feel that baby stop. So we've got a perfectly functioning one here, but the problem on this bike is the defective spark plug boot. Putting a new boot on is what's going to fix this bike here. All right, now let's go ahead and repair the fuel system. They put in a new fuel line, fuel filter, carburetor, and the like. But let's go ahead and take care of the gas tank. I like to check the fuel petcocks. Let's see if we can get that to focus. The filter here, it's not bad, but you get junk in the gas tank. This guy here will get clogged up. I like to just go ahead and throw this thing away. And let's just go ahead and rely on the inline. And let's just go ahead and rely on the inline fuel filter. Put some Teflon tape on this. Come on. You want to be very careful not to over tighten this here. If you get it really snug, you can snap this off and break off the fitting inside of the bung here. And there we go, we good. Now this is a quality fuel line. It's not that stuff that you get from the kits. It's not going to shrink up as quickly or get hard as quickly. Now you want to make note when you replace your fuel filter here, there's an arrow. You can barely see it. Kind of have to look at it here, pointing in the direction of flow in the fuel. Quite often they'll have a magnet here at the top, here at the inlet. That's one way to look. And the magnet will get any metal particles that might be in your gas. Some of these fuel lines are pretty tough. To stretch it out, I'll take a pair of needle nose pliers, put in it, and open it up. Well, we're replacing the carburetor. Now, if you do have problems with your carburetor and it's sat up, of course you can clean it, but I'm just going to go ahead and give him a new carburetor. That way he's not going to have problems on down the line with it. Of course, I dropped that. Let's see here. The needle here on the slide is kind of gummy. I can feel a residue on it and stain. So I'm going to go ahead and just clean that off. You know what I'm going to go ahead and do? I'm just going to go ahead and replace that. Oftentimes I'll just go ahead and reuse the slide. But this one here is pretty dirty. Okay, let's get our new carburetor on. Since I'm pretty lazy, if there's not a problem with the slide and the needle on the original carburetor, I don't replace them, but the slide was reasonably gummed up and the needle was pretty dirty. Come on, baby. There we go, we got that in. Go ahead and get our new carburetor on. Now I can look inside and I can see that the slide is going all the way down. When I release it, I can hear the slide bottom out, so we're good there. If you want to get a little bit better acceleration, a little bit better performance, you can remove this, drill you some extra holes in here. I've got bikes that I've been riding for the last year or so. I even let them sit out in the rain with no air filter on it. It's just open, it's going in. I don't have a problem. I mean, if it was a $2,000 bike or something, okay, I wouldn't do that. But I'm not worried about it on this here. This is someone else's bike that I'm working on. So I'm going to let them know if they want, they can drill holes in it. Get a little slob on this thing right here. Push that fuel line down. I like to make sure that, regardless of the insulation, that the fuel line doesn't rub against the cylinder head. I got a buddy who runs a Harley, and he runs the hell out of that thing, and he's got a fuel line laying right on the cylinder, right between the two cylinders. Never had a problem. He says he ain't scared. So do so at your own peril. All right, so we've got that going on here. We need a new spark plug boot. Okay, he's got rubber between the chain tensioner and the chainstay here. Reason being, this here is clamped all the way tight, and this is a fairly small chainstay tube. And I don't like rubber being in there. If this was my bike, I'd weld it up, or what we can do, I'm going to go ahead and pull this off, and I'm going to take my MIG welder, I'm going to lay a lot of metal in there, and we're going to close that gap up. Yep, we got the bike cranked up. Everything's working fine on the bike. All right, boys and girls, this was your culprit right here, this bad boy right there, okay? I thought I was wasting my time when I was checking the spark plug boot, but for some reason it's open, meaning there's no current going in and going out. So let's pitch this bad boy here to the trash. Right there. We're down the road. Hey, I hope you found this of interest here. I hope I helped you out a little bit on any repairs. These little ohm meters are worth their weight in gold. I'll leave a link down below for an ohm meter if you want one, and as well a link for a spark plug boot, which, hey, you might as well buy the whole damn CDI, right? Okay, if you like the video, give me a thumbs up, click subscribe. There's a lot more videos coming. I want to thank you for watching. Y'all take care. 3, 2, 1, yeah, let's go!